Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach here, along with Keeneland's Director of Simulcasting, Jim Goodman. Big weekend of racing, the World Cup card in Dubai. We're doing a tip sheet on that with some of the handicappers for Keeneland Select, so look for that at the Keeneland Select website. And we're going to talk about the World Cup here in just a moment in our podcast. But, Jim, we're going to start with a couple of graded stakes at the fairgrounds, one a prep for the Kentucky Oaks, the other a prep for the Kentucky Derby. We'll start with Grade 2 Fairgrounds Oaks for 3-year-old fillies at a mile and the 16th. It's their 9th race, and I'm a Chatterbox who broke her maiden at Keeneland last fall, going for 3 in a row. Can you beat her?
Well, I would like to beat her in one way, but I'm really a Larry Jones and a Florent Giroux fan, and I think this filly, when Larry got her from McPeak, she just blossomed as a 3-year-old, and I think she's a legitimate Kentucky Oaks contender, and I wish she was coming to the Ashland instead of running in the fairgrounds. So I think she's that good. Forever Unbridled, the one horse, has tackled her a couple times and got within 8 lengths, and then the last time out got within 2 3/4. But it seemed like I'm a Chatterbox won that easily, the Rachel Alexandra. So I don't think Forever Unbridled is going to get her. The only thing I see is Shook Up the 7 had her best race on a muddy track at Fairgrounds and ran at Churchill on a sloppy track. So they've got a 90% chance of rain. I haven't seen it. We're taping this on a Thursday, and it's supposed to rain at Fairgrounds today, but I don't think it's going to be bad on Saturday. So if the track goes off, I'd take Shook Up with I'm a Chatterbox, but I think she's a standout in here, and I think she's going to win easily on a fast track.
I am going to go with just a 2-horse Exacta box, and I'm going to try to beat the favorite, excuse me, with Forever Unbridled. This one is the one horse, steadily improving speed figures, nothing dramatic, but just steadily getting better. Had a little bit of a wide trip last time, and the only thing that concerned me for I'm a Chatterbox is she didn't look like she really improved from the 2 races back to the last one. And visually it's very impressive, but numbers-wise it was just about the same. So I'm going to take a shot that maybe Forever Unbridled can improve enough to nail her on the wire. And I'll take Forever Unbridled to win and just do an Exacta box with that one. And I'm a Chatterbox, the 1-6 box. 11th race is the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby for 3-year-olds at a mile and an 8. And I'm going back to the horse I picked in the prep for this, Keen Ice. It's his 3rd start off a layoff, so this could be his best. And I thought he finished strong in that last race, finishing 3rd. And it was a bit of a wide trip. And now he gets to stretch out another 16th of a mile, which I think he will really like. And I'm going to take a shot that Keen Ice runs them down in a field that I think lacks a real standout. Certainly International Star is one you got to use. I would key Keen Ice with him, with War Story the 6, with St. Joe Bay the 8, and the 1 Stanford coming in from Gulfstream for Pletcher. Got to respect that move always. But I'm going to try number 7, Keen Ice, for a bit of an upset in the Louisiana Derby. Who do you like?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Stanford because the horse that beat Stanford by 5 3/4, Materiality, is running in the Florida Derby, and so it's going to be that horse is an intriguing prospect there. So if, that you might watch the other race. I believe this race goes off before the Florida Derby. So if Stanford runs big in here, I think that makes Materiality a better bet in the Florida Derby. And you didn't mention Mr. Z, and I don't much like Lucas horses this time of year, but Mr. Z has come within just a nose of having a Grade 1 at Los Alamitos. He has lost to Far Right, Dortmund, Ocho Ocho Ocho, Texas Red, and Carpe Diem his last 6 races. He has run against the very best horses that he could find. He's only won once, but he's always in the money. He's got 4 seconds and 3/3. I'm going to take him and International Star, and I'm going to keep those 2 on top. I like the fact that DeSormo takes the mount for Lucas and travels to the fairgrounds for this ride, and I think Mr. Z has a chance. Although he's got a lot of similar buyers, he's had some crazy trips. He veers out. He's washed out in the post parade. If they get him straightened out, he's got a lot of ability, and he's run very close to a lot of great horses. I'd like to see International Star win it for the Ramseys. I'd like to see a horse sweep the Lecomte, the Risen Star, and the Louisiana Derby. That would be nice. And I'd love to see it for Miguel Mena because Miguel Mena needs a Derby mount. He's a great jock, and I think he's got a shot here with International Star. I'm going to key those 2 on top. I'm going to use War Story the 6 and Keen Ice below. I just think that Mr. Z deserves a lot more respect than he's getting because he's run against the best horses.
Let's go to Meydan for the Grade 1 World Cup. There are several races on Grade 1 races, 5 of them, in fact, total in the card at Dubai, and that makes up our tip sheet from the handicappers at Keeneland Select. So make sure you look for that if you want to play some of those other races in Dubai. But for this podcast, we're going to take a look at the main event, which is the Grade 1 World Cup at 1.25 miles. You got Horse of the Year, California Chrome, going postward here is the likely favorite. How do you see it?
Well, there's no way I'd bet California Chrome at 8-5 in this race. I'd love to see California Chrome win the Dubai World Cup. That would put him, if I calculated correctly, it's a $10 million race. So I think first place is either 5.4 or $6 million. It puts him right at $10 million for his career, and he just turned 4. So that would be pretty cool. And then he comes back and runs against Shared Belief a few more times this summer, and then runs against him in the Breeders' Cup Classic. That would be the best story for us. But I just can't. The U.S. horses, this is a new dirt track, and hopefully they'll do better on the dirt than they did on the synthetic over there. Lee looked good in the Don Handicap. Whether he's good enough to run with California Chrome, I'm not sure, but I think he's got a shot. The other horse that I would probably take a price on if he doesn't get bet, and my wife is a lawyer, and she helps me with these pronunciations all the time. We couldn't figure out this Japanese horse, the 2-horse. So it's Hako Taramai, maybe?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, does that sound good? I mean, as won 2 Grade 1s in Japan and is on a 3 race win streak, and ran the World Cup last year, but just got drilled, lost by 21 lengths. But the horse has been great this year, and I can't pretend that I know anything about Japanese racing other than they send horses to these races and they run well. So I think I'd take a price there, and I'd also throw in African Story in a trifecta, the 3-horse. Godolphin obviously wants to win this race, and the horse got a great prep race on Saturday, Dubai preview day. So I think African Story, Prince Bishop might have a shot to get the money. I'd love to see California Chrome win, but I wouldn't bet him at 8-5.
I like Lee a lot here, in part because the connections, Claiborne Farm, Adele Bill Snyder, Bill Mott, they've known California Chrome's going for a while. I think they wouldn't do this if they didn't think their horse was on top of his game. All the reports I'm seeing from how the horses looked and trained over there have just been sensational. And I think his best figures are as good or better than California Chrome, and he won't be the favorite. So you're not going to get a great price on him, but at least he won't be the favorite. So I like Lee to win the World Cup, and the only 2 I would use with him are the ones you talked about, California Chrome and Hoko Taramai. So then 5 and 9 and 5 and 2, but the 5 Lee is my pick for the World Cup. Best of luck on your handicapping this weekend. Lots of races to play. So keep the Keeneland Select account fully funded so you're ready to go. And don't forget, we will have a separate podcast that takes a look at the Florida Derby Day card down at Gulfstream. For Jim Goodman, I'm John Leach, and this is the In the Money podcast at KeenelandSelect.com.